I have a twin brother, Dean. He and his wife live in Florida. And he said to me one day, you ought to try to preserve some of Mom's recipes, those foods that we grew up with as children. And I got to thinking about Mom's beef stew. But the problem is I don't know how she made it. She had a pressure cooker. Did she use her pressure cooker or did she make it in one of her large pots? I don't remember. So I did a lot of research and I think I've come up with a recipe. It's not going to be exactly like Mom's, but I think it'll be pretty good. So let's make beef stew. I have here 1/4 cup or about 1 ounce, 28 grams of all-purpose flour, to which I'm adding about 1/4 teaspoon of freshly ground black pepper, and then give that a stir. Then I have 1 pound of meat cut into cubes. 1 pound is about 450 grams. I'm adding that flour to it a little at a time. You could put the meat in a Ziploc bag and dump in all the flour and just give it a good shake. I'm just doing it a little at a time. And by the way, I'm using lamb rather than beef. I prefer lamb, but use beef if you like. You could even do this with turkey meat. I'm heating a pressure cooker over medium-high heat. You could use a regular pot if you want to. Cooking time is going to be different. 1.5 hours to cook the meat compared to 15 minutes. And I'm putting about 1 tablespoon of oil in the bottom of that. Then I'm adding the meat a few pieces at a time. You don't want to overcrowd the pan. And then cooking that, turning the pieces over until the beef, or in my case, lamb, is browned on all sides. Figure about 5 minutes per batch. And then if necessary, add more oil as needed between batches. Now that all the beef is browned, I'm returning it to the pan and I'm going to add some beef broth. I happen to like this particular kind. This is a 4-cup box. I'm going to add most of this. Right now about 3.5 cups. I'll probably add the rest later. And then I want to bring this up to a simmer. You want to stir the bottom of the pot to loosen any brown bits, the fond that have gathered in the pot. While this liquid is coming to the boil, I'm going to skim some of the scum off the top. As it rises, I'm probably collecting a little bit of the flour too, but that's okay. You'll notice that bowl to the right. I'm going to add the rest of that flour after I get through dealing with this beef, or in my case, lamb. It's time to deal with seasoning. I'm adding 2 bay leaves, and then I'm going to add some Herbes de Provence. Not that much, not that much. Okay, just that much. About, 2 bay leaves and 1 teaspoon of Herbes de Provence. You can use different herbs if you like. I also have some tomato paste here, and I'm going to put in about 2 tablespoons of tomato paste. Give that a good stir. Then put the pressure cooker lid on and make sure it's sealed properly. My Kuhn pressure cooker has a way of telling me when it's up to full pressure. That centerpiece rises until 2 red lines appear. That's full pressure. And then I turn the heat down just enough to maintain that pressure. This meat now has been cooking under pressure for 15 minutes. So I'm going to very carefully remove this lid. Kind of open it away from you in case there's a lot of steam in there. You don't want to get scalded. And then I'm going to give it a good stir. I'm going to add the last of this beef stock. And I did add the flour that was in that bowl that I used for coating the beef. I'm adding 1 medium onion, peeled and coarsely chopped, 2 stalks of celery, cleaned and coarsely chopped, 4 medium carrots, peeled and cut into 3/4 inch or 2 centimeter pieces. Then give that a good stir. And now I'm going to cover it with a regular lid rather than the pressure cooker lid. I don't need to cook this under pressure. And the lid from my Instant Pot fits perfectly. Cook these vegetables for about 10 minutes. I'm adding 2 large potatoes here that I've chopped into large pieces, maybe 3/4 inch each, about 2 centimeters. And the total weight on that was just over a pound, just over 450 grams. Again, simmer 20 to 30 minutes. I actually found 20 minutes was adequate. Then using my infamous red-handled tasting spoon, I'm tasting this for salt. I know it's going to need salt, so I'm going to give it a good pinch of salt. Stir that in, taste it again. Ah, yes, that's perfect. Now I'm adding 1 cup of frozen peas. That came to about 130 grams. Stir those in. I'm going to cover the pot, but I'm turning the heat off. I'm going to let this rest for 15 minutes just to let those peas partially cook. I just want to check the tenderness of my peas. I want them to be crisp tender. I don't like peas mushy. And if they're not cooked too much, they have a nice fresh pea flavor. That's perfect. I'm ready to plate my stew. Ladle some into a nice big bowl. Add a little more broth. I like plenty of broth. And let's see, I'm going to scoop out a few more of these carrots just for appearances, because this bowl is going to be a part of my photography for the recipe from my website. And there it is. That's my bowl of beef stew, or in my case, lamb stew. I'm excited about this, I have to tell you, because here I am, 70 years old. I'm finally making my mom's stew, or something close to it. And it looks so good. That meat is fall apart tender. It's almost like butter melting in your mouth. Try a couple of carrots. Potato. Perfect. Oh, that is delicious beef stew. So excuse me, I'm going to go enjoy. It's 3 o'clock. A late lunch or an early dinner.